Here I've got sort of the antidote to last week's picture where it was just this blob of pink with a little spider. It was, I think, a little over the top. This is a much more normal picture of a normal subject. And I think in my mind, it's a little more classical in terms of composition as opposed to a super close-up of the center of a pink rose with a spider and all that. It's a plane. And I like the simplicity of this photo. I like the angle that I took it at. I like the lighting. There's just a lot of things that I like about this. I took this when I was on the way to work, and it's one of the fun things about working on a college campus. You never really know what you're going to find. Such as the day I took this, when I'm walking to work, and I had driven my car that day, and so my walk was like a block and a half from where I parked to where my building is. And here's this airplane sitting in the middle of, or at the edge of one of the big open lawns on campus. And surrounding the airplane were a tent and a hammock. And if you scroll down on the blog a little bit, you'll see a little more complete picture of the scene. I didn't really know what was happening. Then I remembered that every year the OSU Flying Aggies Flight Club parks a plane out on the grassy area, one of the grassy areas of campus north of Theta Pond, and they have students sort of hanging around the plane all day to talk about the Flying Aggies Flight Club for anyone who wants to find out about it. And it's a really cool thing that you don't see in most other environments. So I'm walking past. It's early. It's like 7:25. I get to work at 7:30 usually. So I had a couple minutes. I took a few pictures of this. I have my D750 with me and the 50mm lens. And I like that combination because I get a decently wide view on a full frame camera. 50mm on a crop sensor camera is a little too tight for me. But you stick that 50 on a full frame camera and you get a nice view, a nice angle of view. It's not too wide, not too constrained, and I was able to get some pictures of this plane and some context without having to back up too far, and also get a little depth of field going on. So I took a few pictures like the one that you see if you scroll down a little more on the blog, and they weren't that interesting to me. And I thought, what would make this picture more compelling visually? And I realized it would probably be the angle that I took it at. So I got down, I kind of crouched down, took a picture of the plane. It didn't quite work. And then I realized my D750 has this flip out screen. So I set the camera on the ground, tipped it up just a little bit, popped out the screen on the back, went into live view and focused on, I think, the propeller. I forget. I could look on Lightroom and find out exactly where. I shot this at f1.8 because I wanted a little bit of depth of field. When you're shooting a subject this far away, it's probably 15 feet away from this plane, it's hard to get any depth of field unless you use a really wide aperture. So I shot at f1.8, and that resulted in a little bit of depth of field. I like the blurred out foreground. I like that there's a little bit of blurriness in the background. Whenever you shoot wide open like that on a cheaper lens like my 50mm f1.8 lens, I think it's like a $200 lens, you're going to get some artifacts. The image isn't going to be as tack sharp. You're going to get some chromatic aberration, but I didn't care. I just wanted a neat photo of the plane, and I think I got that. I don't normally see a picture like this where there's a plane in the middle of a grassy lawn and you're down at a low angle, and I think the low angle adds a bit to the photo that wouldn't be there otherwise. If you look at the other photo, again, on the blog, when you scroll down, it's kind of, whoa, I just realized this. It's kind of plain. Get it? It's a plane photo. And it doesn't seem all that remarkable. It seems like a snapshot, whereas the actual photo for this week seems more thoughtfully composed. At least I hope it does. That was my intention. I wanted to get the rear of the plane in the shot as well, and one of the rear wings is just barely on the edge. It's clipped off a little bit, and I wish I would have recomposed to get the whole thing in the shot. But all things considered, I like how this picture turned out, and I like that it's sort of a return to form for me. It's a change of pace from a lot of the close-up macro photography, and just allowed me to explore a larger subject in a more natural environment with just a camera and a lens and no filters or anything like that.